what is the reasonable expectation of Brent Key and Georgia Tech? Okay, so I'll paint the picture and then you take it from there. You've heard me talk about this a lot, though. One, you get your rah fan favorite quarterback to come back. Regardless how you feel about him in terms of talent, he means a lot to that team. I said Will on the show last night, I think that you can make the argument there's not a quarterback that is more integral to the success of their team and offense than Haynes King is with Georgia Tech in the country.
I would agree with that.
Okay, you have Jamal Haynes coming back, who, let's just say what it is, Ole Miss tried to go get out of the portal this past year, and very dynamic back. Hopefully you don't run him into the ground. You keep Malik Rutherford, which was big when you lost Eric Singleton. You've offset some things there. Offensive line, you got to replace.
I've heard he's not good though.
Well, that might be it. Yeah. But I think that offensively you've got tools. Defensively, you hire, Blake Gideon, who a lot of people are excited about from Texas. What type of pressure is realistic in your mind? And I already see the fan comments here just talking about, 8-4 or something like that. Like, I think it's important to understand, one, who you are as a program, because there's a big difference here. Okay, I'm going to break some news. You're not any of the three programs that we just got done talking about in terms of money, in terms of stature, and in terms of what is that little word phrase we love, Will? Brand value. You're none of that. You got to understand who you are. So I paint that picture towards you. It does feel a little bit like an all-in year with some of the veteran talent that they have. Where would you go? Like, what is the realistic pressure, or the not even hot seat meter? What type of pressure is on Brent Key to perform and win with this group?
I think it's hard to read because, we talk about it. We draw parallels between Georgia Tech and Auburn with the way things work behind the scenes. And, what the tea leaves that we've, gotten to see, it seems like that there's not a ton of pressure on Brent Key to do more than he's already done. I mean, to be honest with you, at least that's kind of from where I sit. Everybody loves him. Everybody wants him to be there.
Yeah.
The decision makers, the powers that be.
Yeah.
They love him. They want him to be
Big
there.
Let's just throw it out there. Big Tex. Yeah.
He has done everything that he was asked to do from day one. He has stabilized his program. He's got him on the right track. There's no doubt about it. But, and, seeing the fan comments I expect that. And as fans, you should expect that, and you should expect more. But like you said, let's look in the grand scheme of it, the country, the ACC. Think about who Georgia Tech is. And I think realistically, you're looking for an above 500 record and making a bowl game. And, hey, if you win that bowl game, icing on the cake. I think that should be the expectation. But like you said, it feels like an all-in year. So probably less than 8-4 is really going to be disappointing. Even if you go 7-5, if you're one game off, you're going to be disappointed if you don't go at least 8-4. Because the veteran talent, you have one more year of Haynes King, you have one more year of Malik Rutherford. They're coming back. You think this offense is going to Jamal Haynes? You think this offense is going to be a world beater? And as a fan, you should think that. And they certainly have that potential to keep putting up a lot of points. They were really good last year when they were healthy.
Yeah.
When those three guys were healthy, this offense was really good. I think you got to worry about that. Haynes King's a guy that's been hurt nearly every year of his college career at this point. So you kind of almost have to expect him to get banged up. And like you said, he is so valuable to that offense. Everybody loves to talk about how great Aaron Philo is, but remember, the backup quarterback is everybody's favorite player on the team. He's the backup quarterback. What does this offense look like if he has to step in and be the star? How much different is it? Because he is not the same type of athlete, the same type of player that Haynes King is. So you got to expect it's going to be different. But, so stop ranting just a little bit.
Oh, that's great stuff. Yeah.
I think if you go 7-5 and make a bowl game, you win that bowl game, get to 8-5, you got to feel really, really good as a Georgia Tech. We gotta don't expect too much, because when you expect too much, you get disappointed. Then you fire your coach, and then you end up with a guy that you have to fire mid-season in a year and a half. I've been down that road. So, Georgia Tech, that is not a road you want to go down.
Okay, so I've been watching some of the comments in the comment section as you've been talking, and I'm glad that you said a lot of the things that you said because, well, it's okay if you're labeled as a Tech hater. I mean, remember, Cradabooth is very anti-Tech. We spend our own money to be at games, and we make an investment of talking to people inside the program. So we definitely hate it every single day that we have to do that. But I do want to point this out. It is an all-in type of year. And I think that and we talked about this a little bit on Monday, because of what you've done this offseason in player retention and adding around, like this year for Georgia Tech, they didn't really have to go and overhaul a certain group. Like, if that makes sense. Like, you felt good about some pieces right there. But you know what? You could pick and choose where you wanted to add. Now, defensive line, that's just a hard place to build anyways now, because if guys are good at the G5 or lower P4 level, they're going to move up to the top 20 programs. And I think that's just kind of a product of where we are in college football. It's just hard to keep those type of things there. Defensive back, though, you felt like you had some pieces there. You added some, but you've got a core nucleus of guys that you like. Defensive line, okay, there. I mean, linebacker, it's going to be probably a lot of the same guys. Running back, we talked about, you made some additions, but there's nothing that you're like, oh my gosh, we have to go do this outside of defensive line, in my opinion. So because of the offseason that you've had in terms of on paper and the fanfare around it, I think it has pushed the expectations on Georgia Tech to, like I said last week, like, can you be a college football playoff contender? And when I mean that is, I don't mean that you finish with a ranking of a top 8 program. You just got to get to Charlotte. And if you get there, anything can happen. So I guess I asked the question of, if you don't get there, let's paint the picture. If you do not get there to Charlotte this year and you go, let's just be real, you go 7-5 and you win a bowl game to go 8-5. Like, I think 7's the floor. You cannot go below 7 wins. Would 7 wins be disappointing? But is 7 wins, Will, at Georgia Tech, a place where you fire a head coach? Like, that to me is, it's gone from, and let me say this, okay?
Sorry, I'm laughing at Dev's comment.
Dev says 75 is mediocre. I didn't slave away in a sweaty asbestos-filled building for 4 years for us to lose to Bowling Green. I think that the excitement level, and this is a great thing because people care again about the program, but I think that the excitement level has pushed people into this stratosphere of where it's like, hey, you don't operate like that. Like, you don't operate on a level where you can buy this coach out and his whole staff, by the way, where you've invested more money in a football coaching staff than you have in 20 years, and then go hire a staff that you really is going to move the needle that much more. Like, that's not who you are as a program. You need this to work out. I've talked a lot about this. Well, I mean, I know we don't want to cross over into the Auburn territory here. I just think there is, like you said, a warning and a danger when you start to have some stability and you try to build success, that you have a quick trigger in terms of firing. You have to know who you are as a program. And I saw coming around and say, this isn't a bum program. No, it's not a bum program, but it's not a top 20 program in terms of, facility, NIL. Like, it's not that. So I think, just bottom line, man, I think if you win 7 games, is it disappointing? Yes, it is. It is very disappointing. You can question a lot of things, which is not popular with this fan base, but you can question a lot of things. But man, if you think that this team going 7-5 warrants a brand new coaching staff, again, remember, you're not just firing a head coach. You are buying out the entire staff. I don't know. I think that's asinine, like, in my opinion. I think you have to know who you are, and I think it's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I just pulled up the schedule and looked at it top of my head.
On paper, man.
I'm seeing 8 or 9 wins. I really am.
Yeah.
Because, and let me get to this from Nico. Yeah, I also think that Will is genuinely speaking from a position of an SEC fan. Thinks that any program in the ACC not named Miami or Clemson has a ceiling of 8-4. No. I am looking at the rosters of all the teams. I think this Georgia Tech roster could do no better. I mean, if they go, I can't say they can't do any better than 8-4 or 9-3, because anything can happen when you play it. But I don't see it. I don't see it. And then, like I say about Haynes King, he's been hurt every year. He is so valuable to this offense. Aaron Philo, yes, he got some playing time last year, mostly against NC State, who was a disaster last year. Not trying to downplay that he had a really good game, but I'm saying that doesn't give me a lot of confidence that he can step in and replicate or even take the next step with this offense that Haynes King can. I'm looking at the rosters. Miami and Clemson, they have a higher ceiling at 8-4 because they have playoff or national championship level rosters. Georgia Tech doesn't have that right now. Certainly closer to it than they were a year ago, I would say. And getting better every year. It just takes time, and it takes longer. It takes more time at a place like Georgia Tech than it does Miami or Clemson. And that's just the reality. Yeah. So it doesn't have anything to do with me thinking that they can't because they're not called Miami or they're not called Clemson.
No.
I'm just looking at the roster on May 21st.
Yeah.
And obviously we don't kick a game off for 4 months.
Yeah.
So a lot can change.
Anthony says if we beat Clemson, we'll go on a run. Yeah, no, like that's your.
There's no doubt about it.
I mean, if you beat Clemson, the expectations change in the middle of the season too. You got to be in Charlotte. Like it does. I agree with you. I agree with you there. So I think that there's a lot of conversation happening this. I think that Haynes King is a guy that is not the most talented quarterback in the room, but he gives you a chance to win every single time he takes the field. Like I don't think that's up for debate. Like I said on the show last night, if you got number 10 under center, you got a chance to win the game. I really don't care who the opponent is because Georgia Tech's weird like that. They play up to the level sometimes, and sometimes they play down to the level of their opponent. But that being said here is when you are talking about a team that has done what they have done, like they have tried, by the way, Haynes King has been hurt every single year he's played football in some capacity. Does that mean that he missed games? No, but he has played injured or beat up every single game. That's what we're saying. When you talk about this program and that what they've done this offseason, like I said, they have gone all in terms of to help this nucleus that they have, which offensively is Malik Rutherford, it's Jamal Haynes, and Haynes King. So those are the three that you're trying to key in on, and then you want to build secondary pieces around to help facilitate the success of those three guys. So it's a lot of what we talked about. That's why the pressure is there, because here's another conversation to be had here, Will. Like, I think there's pressure not just to get – I'm not saying there's pressure to get to Charlotte. I think there's pressure for Georgia Tech to get out of this purgatory that is the middle of the ACC. Like the ACC conference is – 2 or 3 teams that you're like, yeah, like they're going to be big spenders, regardless of record, you've got teams that are going to be big spenders. And then you have about like 7 teams that one year could go 9-3, the next year they go 5-7, and all these type of things. So just in terms of that's to me where the pressure is can you get away from being dragged down into the mediocrity that this conference has at times? That's where the pressure is, because if you are, man, then hey, Brent Key is your guy to take you to the next level of whatever that is. So bottom line, I think that to me is where the true pressure lies with them, because there does need some type of pressure. It can't just be sunshine and rainbows because it was so bad before and now you've got a guy that makes you feel good about yourself. Never in my life have seen a fan base that is more falls into that than this one. But that to me is where the real pressure lies. Can you get out of purgatory of the ACC, the middle tier of that, the Virginia Techs, the Virginias, the NC States, the Dukes of the world, and say, hey, we deserve to be in the discussion of like the teams that are on the thumbnail, the Florida States, the Clemsons, the Miamis of the world. We deserve to be there. So it's interesting to me that I think the expectation level has, I mean, we got a little more time here. I think another piece to this, Will, is that the expectation level has skyrocketed. There's 2 sides of the coin. A lot of people are really excited about because they're diehard fans and they read everything, and that's what they tunnel vision into. The truth is, I think that this is a program that still has not shown you under Brent Key that they can put a consistent product out on the field each and every single week. That's part of getting out of that purgatory. Now, I'll say this, and I see some questions here as well that we want to get to.
Let me get to this comment from.
Okay, go ahead.
You should try to further state your claim. You mentioned the program, GT, not the roster itself. Yeah, for 2025, I'm talking about the roster, but you want to talk about the program? Georgia Tech's all-time winning percentage is 58%.
They're above average.
Above
Just
average.
above average.
So that's 7-5 or 8-4 every year. I mean, that's good. 58% is good. You talk 763 wins, 546 losses, but if you break it down to 1 year, 58%, they're talking about 7-5. So that's where Georgia Tech is as a program. They've had, claimed 4 national championships. They've been the best team 4 times. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since we could say Georgia Tech is one of the best teams in the country. So, heading into 2025, yeah, their ceiling is 8 wins, maybe 9 wins. They beat Clemson, you're talking about 10 wins.
I've said this. I have said this, I think, multiple times over the past 5 years of me covering this program. This is a team and a program that if you are a head coach, regardless of what you think as a diehard fan, every single fan wants to go to 7. I mean, Clayton says it every single day, 17-0, right? Like 17-0 every single year. That's what they want to do. This is a program where really and truthfully, if you win at a floor of 7 games a year and go to a bowl game and win it and maintain a top 30 recruiting class, you're not going to lose your job. Am I wrong in that, Will? Like, I think that's kind of the program what it is. Like, this is a team that in one specific year has the chance to do this. And I've said this multiple times. Like, if you sit around the 8-win mark, okay, at Georgia Tech, and maybe occasionally every 3 or 4 years you have a group that really has developed well together and you've kind of spent wisely in the portal and you've done good evaluations to where you can challenge to go to Charlotte, that's good enough here, man. Regardless of what you think about as a fan, that's fine. Like that, they're cool with that. So I think not losing more than 7 games, not losing, or not, I should say, not winning more than 7 games gets you in trouble. If you 7 games the floor here in 2025.
Yep, I agree with that. Nico said, "Will you say that Auburn's a program where 7 wins gets your head coach fired, but that's historically your average?" Correct. Look at Gus Malzahn's his record at Auburn. Hit average to 8-4, and that's why he got fired, because it's not good enough year after year.
People love to just poke fun at the Auburn aspect of this. We're trying, and this is where people get mad at us and call us anti-Tech. It's because the expectation level from the donor base, from the fans, from the administration.
There you go, Clayton.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. So there's just it's an expectation to be great. If you're winning 7 to 8 games at Georgia Tech consistently and challenging for a 9 to 10 win season every 3 years, you're not getting fired. Like that would be malpractice, in my opinion, with the current state of what it is.
Auburn is 62% all-time record. How is 8-4 above 62?
What's 8 divided by 12?
That's 67%. Yeah, I mean, you're splitting hairs because you play 12 games. I mean, you win 9 games, you're above average. You win 8, you're below average.
Matt says this. He goes, if your team only wins 7 games a year, yeah, it's okay. But it gets old after a while making progression. How's it get recruits excited? Matt, you just hit the nail on the head of the entire Georgia Tech fan base. It's called apathy. That's what it is.
Yeah, and as a fan, you should want that. You don't want to settle for average. You don't want to settle for mediocrity. You want to continue to get better and compete with the best of the best. You want that. You want that.
But what we're saying, we're not talking about the fan perspective. We're talking about the people who pay the checks, write the checks, and pay the bills. Georgia Tech is not going to, I don't know what the buyout is of the entire staff. It's, I don't know what it is. They're not going to do that and then go hire somebody because Brent Key is only averaging 7.5 wins a year. That they're not going to do that.
Right. When did I say this?
No, we're just saying that it's a program. No one's saying that the fans should be having. We're saying that's what if you walked into Jay Batt's office and you were real,
I'm telling you, 9-3 cannot be your expectation. If 9-3 is your expectation, you're gonna be disappointed because historically you have not been that. That's why I can't have an expectation for Auburn to win 9 or 10 games every year. Auburn has never done that every year. Auburn averages 7 wins a year, 7.5 wins a year on average.
It's from a business standpoint. Exactly. Now, Nico says that 9-3 is the desire. For you, it might be. That we're
As
saying
a fan,
for you,
it should be. Now,
as a fan, it should be.
The people that write the checks, sure, that can be a desire, but is it going to be a deal breaker? It's not going to be. It's not going to be.
Yeah, I know. I mean, and when we said this, you just got done saying literally 10 minutes ago, this team could win 8 to 9 games this year. Yeah. They should. Like this, there is, to get back to the point, there is expectations for this team to challenge for Charlotte this year. Like it is. So I don't know.
If the people that are writing the checks do recognize the apathy of 7-5, now it depends. If we're talking about 3 straight years of 7-5, that's a different story. But if you're saying you go 7-5 in 2025 and they pull the plug, that's a disaster waiting to happen. And I've seen it happen. I saw it happen with Auburn.
It would be 3 straight years of 7 wins. I will say that.
Say that again.
This would be, if they go 7-5 this year, it'd be 3 straight years of 7 wins. But I'm not firing them after 2025 because of that.
Okay, look at what did Brent Key inherit? What did he inherit? It's probably the reason why I'm not going to get what I want, and Hugh Freeze gets shown the door at the end of this year because of what he inherited.
Yeah.
You have to consider that too. Now, like I said, he stabilized the program. This program, Georgia Tech, is on an upward trajectory with Brent Key right. Yes, if he goes 7-5 every single year, then after 5 or 6 years, yeah, you should make a change.
Yeah. But
he inherited quite possibly the worst roster in the history of Georgia Tech football. I'm guessing here. But the turnaround that he has orchestrated, that he has led, is nothing short of incredible. Just in all aspects, play on the field, fan buy-in, the excitement. People, I mean, nationally, people are talking about Georgia Tech.
Yeah. Zach's got a good point here. Key has won 7 games 2 years in a row. Doing it again in 2025 would make his seat warm. Sure, there would be some pressure on him. Doing it 4 years in a row makes it hot. Only 7 wins out of 2027, fire him.
Yes,
Zach, that is exactly what I'm trying to say. Like that, exactly. If it becomes the norm, yes. But if you are a head coach who averages 7.5 wins a year, with occasionally getting to 9 to 10 wins and having that one special season, at a place like Georgia Tech, man, you're a really good football coach. Like you're a really good football coach. I mean, it's can we judge Key this season since we have a new DC? Yeah, you can. Mm-hmm. There's no leeway for that. I mean, yeah, there it is. What it is. I'm just going to say this. I'm not going to say that on the show. I'll say it to you after the fact. But it is interesting. I think there's pressure on Georgia Tech to perform this year with the way that they've done. That was way too long of a 20-plus minute segment there on Georgia Tech and what it was. But
you knew it was coming.
I knew. I mean, that was whatever in the world that was. But, I mean, there's pressure for all 4 of these coaches to prove themselves. There's pressure for Brent Key to prove that he's more than just a stabilizing head coach. That's fair, right? Like to say that you're more than just a stabilizer.
Yes, it's fair.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, you knew this was going to happen. You opened the floor for the Tech hater. So,
Sam Lord said the greatest coach in the modern era for Tech is Paul Johnson at a 57% winning percentage. We'll say, but we expect Brent Key to win 8 to 9 games consistently. Y'all, it's hard to win, man. Like that's hard to do. That's really hard to do. And I'm just saying, like, yeah.
Nobody knows what the ceiling of the program can be. I'm basing it off of what they've done in 100 years of football. If Brent Key can keep moving up and raise the ceiling of the program, yeah, he's the best coach in the history of Georgia Tech football. But that's so hard to do. It's so hard to do. And Tech's already been down the road. They've hired the wrong guy. They just hired the wrong guy 5 years ago. Was Colin's first year, 6 years ago? They hired the wrong guy. Don't expect. Don't get unrealistic in your expectations. Is what I'm saying. Because if you get desperate and you pull the trigger and go get somebody like a Jeff Collins that comes in and says all the right things, it makes you believe and then does nothing.
Yeah. I just want to say something to just round this thing out. And this is not what I'm going to say to you after the fact. I really truly do love talking about this team. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's a ton of fun.
It's a ton of fun to talk about them. People like Anthony Perez make this a lot of fun. Anthony always watches the show. We appreciate it. It is mind-boggling to me at some point how well, it's not mind-boggling. It's a fan. You're a fanatic. You're supposed to be like this. Like, you're supposed to demand excellence. That's why Will is Mr. Scrooge, when it comes to Auburn football, because he wants to be excellent. It is that. Just think from a 30,000-foot view, you have to know who you are, and that is what it is. And this is just, it's fun. Like, I think it's a lot of fun to talk about this program, but I mean, I don't know what you want to happen at a place like Georgia Tech. Like, I just don't know. I don't know what it is. You can have special years. It would take something, Will, to fundamentally change from the institution for this program to be a consistent 9-10 win team. Like, it would take. Let's just be real. It would. Oh, am I going to get in trouble by saying this? It would take Kirby Smart coming when he went to Georgia, Nick Saban when he got to Alabama. Like, now, I'm not saying they need to go on a run like that. I'm saying it takes someone who literally changes the entire focal point of what you are, like how you do business, if that makes sense. That to me is what it is. Like, I mean, I'm trying to think of, Will, who's another head coach that is transformed? It would take a transformative head coach that would go down as one of the best head coaches in that conferences, or at least in the school history, to elevate this program and what they're about and what the people behind the program are about for them to do that. It's not saying they can't be good here, this year, that year. It's just saying the expectation level of the fan base should always be high. But there's a reasoning with the money people of knowing who you are, and that's important, because when you don't know who you are and you try to be something you're not, that's when you get in trouble.